Hello friends. So it's time to build the doors for the side shed, the little shed extension that I built. And so what I'm planning on doing is I've taken some pine shelving and I've cut it down into 3.5-inch strips, and I've pre-measured it. So I'm going to build a framework, and I'll use some biscuits to join the edges. And on the exterior part, I'll have a piece of plywood, and I'll have it trimmed out with some of the extra fascia boards that I had. And on the back side, I'll have another piece of plywood, and that should make it about 1.5 inch thick doorway. And then I'll mount it on hinges and attach it to the shed extension. So let's get going on it. So biscuits come in 3 or 4 sizes. The one I'm using, this is a biscuit, that's the size number 10. So that's what I'll be using. I'm going to cut a groove right here in this board, and it'll go halfway in, and then I'll cut a groove on this side, and it'll be joined like that. So that's 3.5, so I'm going to go 1 3/4. About right here is the center, and I'll just make a straight line. And then I'm going to make sure this is set at 0 degrees, and that you can see this right here, that is set to number 10, which is the biscuit size. And the way you use this, you push it in, that cutter wheel will be pushed into the wood. And there's the depth gauge right here, so I set it to 3/4 inch, and it'll cut right in the middle of that. Okay, the next step is to get these bar clamps. Ooh, how's that gonna work? Okay, so I ran into a problem. My 5-foot bar clamps aren't long enough. So I thought what I would do is, I don't have any couplings, but I got a union and I have a T. So what I can do is thread those on the end and extend it a little bit, just enough to make it long enough. But the problem is, look at this. When I made these bar clamps, I just got a 10-foot piece of conduit and cut it in half, and it's not threaded. So let's see what we can do about that. This needs to be threaded, and believe it or not, I actually have 2 Ratchet Threaders. They're handhelds. This one here I picked up at a garage sale. It's made by the Toledo company, and it's ratcheting. And so what this does, allows you to put this on the end of the pipe and put some oil on there, and then you just feed that on there, and it threads the pipe. Okay, this one here is made by Rigid, and see the price tag on there? I paid $10 for that at the Habitat store, and it's dated, looks like October of 2014. I've never used it yet, but now that I have it, I'm going to use it. Let's get that to lock in there. There we go. And need a little of this, cutting oil. Craftsman. Highest grade, I'm sure. So one thing I'm going to put down is something to catch the oil. Okay, let's see if she threads on there. Perfectly. Awesome. Okay, that will allow us to extend our clamps by just an inch so we can get those boards glued up. Got my bottle of glue, got 4 biscuits, and start this process here. Okay, we'll let it go overnight, so now it's time to remove the clamps. There it is. It's hard to show. It looks very flat, so we'll test this out here. Okay, so I'm going to place the framework for the door on this tabletop that I built, and it's extremely flat. The way I built this top a couple of years ago, assured that it'd be a good assembly table, and it is. This worked out really well. So I'll have to do this one more time for the other door, and then we'll be ready for the next step. Okay, I've got the framework for the door ready. It's all glued up and very flat. So the next thing we're going to do is I'm going to put some glue on there, and I've got this plywood, and we're going to glue and screw the plywood to the framework. And then when that's done, I've got another sheet of plywood I'm going to put on the back side. So that's my next step. Well, we're done with our 115 degree weather, so it's finally time for me to get back into finishing these doors for the shed extension. And what I have to do next is put on this sheet of 1/8 inch plywood, and it'll fit directly on top of the framework here. And just to make it a little bit more sturdy and rigid, I'm going to put in this this 1x here, and this will actually make it a lot more solid. And it's not going to be for structural, just to keep the door from flexing. It'll be a lot more sturdy once I get it all attached. Now, time to let that glue dry, and I'll do the same thing to the other door. Okay, well, I'm pretty much done building the doors, and haven't painted them yet, but this is the way they turned out. Got the trim pieces around there. I have 2 different sizes. This is going to be on the broad side of the shed, and then this is going to be on the end of the shed extension, And this door is going to be the one where I open it up to put the lawnmower in. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do when I set this door is I'm going to put a spacer down, and I'm going to use these tapping screws. This will be temporary, so I can have the door like floating, so that it doesn't scrape in the bottom when you close it. Okay, so let's see if this fits in there. This nail is right where this screw hole has to go. How perfect could that be? I just moved it over a little bit. That won't bother my OCD. These are the self-tapping screws, so I'll probably switch them out. I just want to get them up there so I can see how it swings. Oops, come on now. Okay. Yeah, that's going to work fine. Okay, so all the 3 hinges are on there, and they're pretty spaced out about right. And there's a little bit of space here, but I can actually move the door over just a little bit. And I'm also going to put a board in here that's a little bit thicker than this, and it'll act as a stop, so the door won't go any further. Okay, I just put in the hardware. Beautiful. So it's looking pretty good. Still a lot more to do here. I gotta put a trim up here, and then I'm gonna put this door on next. And this is the door that's going to go there, right here. So, should be good. I'll put the other piece on, and now let's see how the door fits in there now. Okay, now I got to center this door so I can put the hinges on. Alright, now let's see how the door swings. Perfect. Oh, it swings good. I have to put my door stops in. This is so cool. Okay, we'll call that a wrap.